Roi Zuaretz is an Israeli musician best known for his performances with his brother Guy of Ladino songs. Now he's gearing up to release a new solo album. He's already released 2 singles from it, and I'm very happy to have him here in the studio to tell us all about it. Thank you so much for coming in, Roi.
Thanks for having me. That's beautiful, actually, here.
I'm glad you like it. I love it, too. Now, you've already released 2 singles from this upcoming album. What can you tell us about this
It's
new
interesting.
album?
It's a process. It's a long journey that started like 20-something years ago.
Wow.
When I wrote part of the stuff, like 20, maybe 25 years old. Actually, I have one song that I composed when I was 15 years old, Numi Yalda, with the text.
And only now you're getting ready to release it? How come? What happened
because
now?
I always, I'm doing classical music. I write kind of what they call serious music. And all my life we've been not torn, but divided into the classical era and pop, because I love pop, not pop, like pop and popular.
Nothing wrong with popular music.
And rock, and always like the logic of it, so I always like to write songs.
Okay.
But I think today I can look back and say that I haven't released it because I was a kind of perfectionist, and I didn't want to release something that's not like perfect, and it took.
And so I'm curious. I don't know if I should ask this question. What changed? Either you changed and you're less of a perfectionist, or you were able to get the song to a perfect place.
I think I'd be able to get the it's both, actually.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, it's both.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So what are the inspirations for this new album?
New album first, #1 inspiration, Johann Sebastian Bach. That's my.
And this is a pop album.
Yeah. I think Bach basically, you see all the fundamentals of rock and pop in Bach's pieces. That's and something that I learned every day, like for many years, and still it's like a huge river that you can never.
There's always something new to learn.
There's something new to learn. Just first that, besides that, Arabic music, Middle Eastern music.
Yeah.
I've been living 15 years in the States, and I returned to Israel 4 years ago. And here, you cannot ignore it. You just live it, and so it's very interesting because before I left Israel, I used to be very anti this kind of, Mizrahi, kind of, it's Arabic, it's not ours. But after living out of the country, I appreciate now the style that we have here as a Middle Eastern.
You accept that it is a part of you as well.
It's part of me, yeah. So now I accept it and I work with it. So it's great.
Yeah. Now we mentioned Ladino, the Ladino project you did with your brother. How did that get started?
It's all the same. When I returned to Israel like 4 years ago, Guy, my brother, he told me, Roi, let's do something with the Ladino, because our both parents, the roots are from the Ladino, from Greek and Turkey and Bulgaria, and so basically we grew up with this Ladino sound all the time. And Ladinos, when my grandmother cooking in the kitchen, so she sings all the time, and you hear these songs. If you want, if you don't want, you get it yourself. And,
a part of you.
And when I was outside of Israel, also looking from there, here, also, because I always write music. So you write music, you're always getting into yourself, into a very, very inner self. Try to get, and all of a sudden, I realized that I'm having all these tunes, kind of, quotation as was inspiring, familiar. So, what does this come from? And then you realize, wow, it's the Ladino stuff. And when Guy suggested that we're going to do it, I said, yeah, let's do it. And we just started from one show, one performance.
Yeah, it became a huge success.
Huge success. Now over 300 performances in Israel. And also
great.
We've been to Turkey once, to Istanbul. We performed. It's
amazing.
It's a nice journey.
Now, but working on a project like that, or working on a pop music album, or working on a serious music, as you called it, is it different for you, the experience of working? Do you have a favorite?
I tell you honestly, if I work on songs too much on the concept of song, of verse and chorus and second verse, in a way, it gets a time that I need to do something different, and I always love them to combine the things, to do that and also to write a longer piece, something more instrumental, something with more freedom, something less that limiting you to a specific style.
You also wrote scores for films during your time in LA, right?
Yeah, and documentaries a lot. It's a different
experience.
It's a different experience because when you work to a picture, you have something. You have something visual, and then you put your fingers, you put your imagination, and you know at the same time if it works or if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
We're working on an album, so you have kind of a vision, and you're trying to to imagine and to envision it, and then you're getting to the results. It's totally different experience, but it's when you do it, combine these two together, it's great. I love the.
Now you mentioned your time in the States. You spent a few years on the East Coast, a few years on the West Coast. Why go? What prompted that move to New York?
I wanted to go and study on a more deeper level music, because I started to play piano when I was 3 years old. Before I actually talked, it's crazy. Wow. I think I started to talk about 4 years old. I know it's crazy, but I was playing every tune and everything. I have perfect pitch, like since
Amazing.
I was 3 years. So music came to me naturally.
Yeah.
I didn't like to analyze music. I didn't like when people talk about music with terms and all kind of definitions, which sounds.
So you know what? Let's take a moment and listen to some of your music instead of talking about it.
Yeah,
it's a clip that we have from your last performance.
Yeah.
What are we going to hear?
In בתחילת in Tel Aviv, the last performance. It's instrumental. Basically, it's written for an orchestra, but now I do it in a performance only with the piano. It's a piece about Bertha Morisot, inspired by the painting of the artist, 19th century artist Bertha Morisot. She was a woman. She wasn't so recognized because she was a woman, and only in the last decade or so, people started to
getting more recognition.
Recognition.
Let's hear it. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. We'll definitely keep an eye out for the album. And you're going to tour as well, some more.
Right. Yeah.
So worth a chance to see you. Rועי, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, man. Pleasure.
All right.